Hey guys, and welcome to the video on Rabam's skills. So, what are Rabam's skills? Rabam's skills are the fusion of two skills. So if you bring up K, you can see at the bottom here you have skill enhancement. And there are two skills that can be combined with one base skill. So for the Dark Knight, the base skill is Lunacy of the Deer. The enhancement skills are Shadow Bullet and Corrupt Ground. Now do note that in order to get the Rabam skill, you need to have the requisite level of both the skills. Lunacy of the Deer, you just have to have the base level as it's only a 1-point skill. The normal and then the absolute. This came before absolute skills in Korea, so the balancing is pre-absolute skills. Then Shadow Bullet, you need the max level for that, which is only 2, but for Corrupt Ground, I would need level 5 Corrupt Ground in order to learn Wrath of the Deer. Now, fortunately for us, Wrath of the Deer is pretty bad, but so is Shadow Strike. However, I'm going to take Shadow Strike because it seems more useful in PvP. Wrath of the Deer seems okay, gives super armor, but realistically, it's not all that amazing, especially when you compare it to something like Absolute Lunacy of the Deer. So let's go ahead and learn Shadow Strike. So you can only learn one of the two. You cannot have both at once. And what's important to note is you use them by using Shift X, and using it does not make the main skill go on cooldown. So if I use Lunacy of a Deer and Shadow Bullet, I can still use Shadow Strike. Is that what it's called? Shadow Strike, correct. I can still use Shadow Strike even though those are on cooldown, and I can still use Shadow Bullet again, as well as Air Bullet, even though it's a different skill. Shadow Bullet again. And now I can use Shadow Strike. So using this, do not worry if you take the Rabam's version, the fusion skill, that you won't be able to use the skill, especially for classes that have more useful ones, such as the Wizard that has Lighthouse and Sage's Memory, which are both very useful skills. You will get an improved version of that, and you'll still have access to both Lighthouse and Sage's Memory. So Rabam skills, the usefulness varies depending on the class. The Dark Knight, for example, isn't very useful at all. Shadow Strike is okay, but not super useful. And Wrath of a Deer isn't bad, but Absolute Lunacy is probably better to cast normally. And then I would probably just go into Awakening skills rather than take the time to cast Wrath of a Deer. I just prefer Lunacy, Wheel of Fortune, and back to Awaken skills, comboing the Absolute skills. There's not much of a point to using, for example, the Dark Knight's absolute skills. But for some classes, absolute skills are pretty useful. Or not absolute, obviously, Rabam's. They are pretty useful. The enhancement is pretty powerful. The fact that we're getting more skills in the future should be pretty helpful. And they do combo fairly well, especially if you're a witch or a wizard or a tamer, who have all benefited very highly from the brand new Rabam's skills. Personally, I would suggest not going for the Rabam skills unless it's extremely useful to your class before getting Awaken skills and any absolute skills that you really need. For example, if you're a witch or a wizard, getting, for example, Sage's Lighthouse or the Thunder or Rage versions are not bad ideas. But if you're getting them before you get, for example, Absolute Blizzard or your Awaken skills, that might not be the best idea, so you might want to talk to your guild what you need. The Tamer, on the other hand, really loves her brand new Rabam skill. The one that combos with, I want to say it's the Nimbleness or whatever it's called, is amazing for Tamer. Void something? Either way, that is an amazing skill for Tamer. It makes grinding a lot easier. It makes PvP a lot better. So for Tamers, you're definitely going to want to get that. So it kind of varies depending on the class, but Rabam skills are a useful addition to the game. They are a useful addition to each class, and especially if you're a class that wants to get the absolute skill for something. For example, as a Dark Knight, getting Absolute Corrupt Ground isn't amazing. It's okay, but it's nothing amazing. But if you have the extra skill points to get it, then getting the Rabam skill for that isn't a bad idea if you don't have points invested in Shadow Bullet. It doesn't cost any skill points to get a Rabam skill, so there's no real opportunity cost lost if you're already invested in the skills up to the absolute level. Don't forget that we will be getting more skill enhancements at level 57 and 58. So don't think that if you've got bad skill enhancements on your current class, it's the end of the world. You will be getting more, and some will be potentially game-changing, hopefully. So don't give up just yet or abandon a class just because it's got bad Rabam skills. Rabams are only a part of the equation, and while they will make your class stronger, your class is not going to be any weaker relative to where it was before just because it has bad Rabam skills. It might be weaker relative to other classes if they have good ones, but if you love your class, stick with it. Hopefully it will get good Rabam skills eventually. Anyways guys, I hope this video is informative and kind of showed you what the basics about Rabam skills are. Subscribe if you liked it, and have a good one.